Welcome to the Church of the Week program on AM 630, The Word. Each week, we highlight a different local church or ministry impacting our community. Now let's welcome our Church of the Week host, Chad Schapiro, and today's guest.
Hey everybody, this is Chad Schapiro, host of Church of the Week. Thanks to AM 630, The Word, and I also want to give a shout out to KSLR.com. I have the blessing of being able to work with Texas Baptist down here in this area, as well as Pastor Strong, which just finished up an incredible marriage retreat, which we're not here to talk about that, but just really excited about that. And today we have one of our great churches in the San Antonio area. San Antonio.
Yeah, Shirts
outside
area,
Northeast San Antonio. Right. But my man Cameron is doing some amazing things throughout the whole city. Blessed to have you here. Impact Church.
Yeah, man, that's us, Impact Church.
My bro, I don't get to see you enough, so it's fun to have him here. He's a professor down at BUA, just did chapel today. Tell us a little bit about yourself first, just so everybody gets to know. How did you even come to Christ in the first place? Let's start there.
So I would just say it's a blessing to grow up in a Christian home, man. I grew up in a Christian home with parents that took us to church, and so multiple times a week we were in church all my life growing up. Yeah. And it wasn't, however, until I was about 16 that I came to the realization that it takes a personal relationship. Like the faith of my parents wasn't going to change my eternal destination. Salvation was a response that I had to make. And so when I was 16, man, August 9th, 1996, I gave my life to Christ, and
wow,
it's been a whirlwind ever since. Yeah, it's been awesome.
Amen. So you gave your life to Christ at 16. You were a missionary. Talk about that a little bit. And then is somewhere in there called to be a pastor?
Yeah. So, a few years out of high school, I just grew up playing music. So I was a musician. So I began to lead worship in church and various things. And so God just really clarified a calling to ministry during that time. And it was something I just knew that's what I was on this earth to do and to be a part of. And so I moved to Fort Worth in 2008 and started going to seminary at Southwestern. So I did my undergraduate and graduate school right there. And during that time, God just kind of refined a heart for the nations. And so we served overseas, and with the International Mission Board of the Southern Baptist Convention, we served overseas for a little over 5 years. And we were in a religiously closed country. So it was kind of an interesting thing to do and to be. And it was awesome. We learned a ton, really a period of time in which we functioned in our giftings a lot of teaching, of leadership development and growing and planting churches, or helping nationals plant churches. And so, moved back to the States in 17 for a couple of reasons. We had some security issues. There was just a nudging, a leading there that brought us back. And then 2020, we came down to the San Antonio area, and shortly thereafter, man, we helped kind of rejuvenate and kickstart Impact in 21. So it was awesome.
Man, and you've been doing great with that. Talk a little bit, if you can, about Impact. And if you're watching this online, stay listening. But I wanted to talk about Impact right away in case you jump off for some reason. But if you could even share and like and comment and all that stuff, we would appreciate that. But tell them about Impact, because, I love it. I watch your sermons a little bit here and there. See your clips, man. I like those little quotes that you got coming out. You guys are doing great,
man. It's just a blessing. I've been in church, as I said, all my life, and having been in church all my life, now leading a church plant is a totally different experience, and it's super cool, man. We love Impact so much. We're located in Shirts, which is just outside 1604 in the northeast side of town, and real close to Randolph Air Force Base. And so having done international work, cross-cultural work, and kind of that being part of who we are and who God has made us to be, like we long for diversity, like ideological diversity. So we have people from all over the place. I was just telling a guy earlier today, like I remember, like within the first few weeks of being at Impact, I made a joke in the sermon about the Dallas Cowboys, and like nobody got it. I was like, what the heck, man? Nobody understands, right? Because we had multiple people from Wisconsin and Chicago and Jersey and LA. And they were from all over the place, and they were like, oh, the Cowboys are dumb, or whatever. And I was like, what the? I was like, man, if I was at home, like if I was in my hometown, like I would have killed, right? That would have been an awesome joke. But it was terrible, right? But that's who Impact has become, is just a a church that's just in our community, man. We serve our community, and we want to be outward focused and preach Jesus and love people, man. And that's the mission of Impact is to glorify God and make disciples by impacting our community for Christ. And so we do whatever we can do to impact our local community, to empower people to impact the communities that they're in, and to partner with people around the world that are impacting their own communities. So
yeah. And the website?
Yeah, impactchurchtx.org.
Impactchurchtx.org. You can find them on social media. You can definitely go visit the service. Don't just watch from outside.
We'd love to have you.
Come in and get in the trenches. But I noticed, I think you just mentioned that recently about the diversity. Was that on Sunday or something like that? And a lot of our churches, right, are not that diverse from cultures, from like political perspectives. And it was great to see that you guys did that. Anything intentional that you did that you could teach other churches that you can think of, to be able to become a little bit more multicultural?
I would have loved a heads up on that one.
Sorry,
no, I'm just kidding. It's all good.
Well, just naturally, anything that comes.
Yeah. So I would say two things really naturally that just kind of come out is, generally speaking, when it comes to divisive topics, we either isolate ourselves or we insulate ourselves. And what I mean by that is we're just like, hey, I'm going to hold my opinion about what this is. And that's just the way it is. And I don't want anybody else's opinions. Or we insulate ourselves with other people that see things the same exact way. And that's just not what we see Jesus do. Right? He pressed into cultures and even topics, and he didn't agree with them, but he was just in a loving way, like, let's have a conversation. Right. And so that's a really big part of just who I am, is I don't want to be void of the love that we're called to love one another with. I'm not afraid to get into topics. You and I have talked about things that we disagree on, and that's okay. And so we just kind of cultivate that culture of like, we're not hateful towards anybody. We're not divisive. We can still be brothers and sisters, even though we land in other places on secondary, tertiary issues. And so we've just kind of created that culture, and it's a really sweet thing, man. It's really awesome.
That's awesome. It is. Obviously, we all know there are so many things to get divisive on. And so I really appreciate that about your church. Also, Pastor Strong has been very diverse as well, in terms of the people that come over to Saba for the first Thursday lunches there. And I was noticing the marriage topic that we just had. It was so diverse, and it was like, because we're putting, marriage is the goal. And so it doesn't matter if you're Black, white, Hispanic, doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, your marriage is struggling sometimes, and you need some help. But that's how we should all feel about coming to Jesus every single day of the week, right? That he's the main goal. It doesn't matter about all these issues. So before you were when you first started planting, and you now have been doing it for a while, what are some things you wish you knew at the beginning when you first got rolling?
Yeah,
because it's hard when you first get started.
I think that's a big part of it, is just recognizing the struggle, right? That it's going to be years of process. And I've been asked a number of times, like, at what point do you not become a church plant? I'm like, I have no idea. Nobody knows.
Right.
I think it has something to do with facilities. Not that it you're not a real church, because I think we're a very healthy, strong, real church. But I do think there's something to do with, when you have the ability to turn around and plant another church, right? And to pay it forward. So it's I think timing is the big thing. I think you can start off like thinking, hey, we're just going to crush this, right? And we're going to grow from, a core team of 30 to 300, and then to, 600. We're going to have this multipliers of growth within a very short amount of time. And the reality is sometimes it happens, right? In the church starting world, we call it a hot start, right? Sometimes you have a hot start.
Not often.
Not often, but those are the anomalies, right?
They are.
But those are the ones that everybody sees, and we're like, oh, well, that's what I'm going to be. Right? But it just doesn't happen very often, right? And it takes, I'll give a shout out to Tom Howe, right? Who is the director of church starting in Texas Baptist for a really long time. He's now transitioning to a new role.
Congrats, Tom. If you're watching.
Thank you, Tom. Tom has two things that he would say is proximity and presence. Right. And I think that's what you really need, is you need to be close to your people, and you need to be present with your people. And that's the long game, man. That's the long game. It's not a hot start, right?
So, man. And so I also think too, your background of being a missionary probably helped a lot, because you're going in there, and I mean, you're you're basically, like you said, planting, teaching, raising up leaders, but you're doing it from scratch. You're not just coming into a building that's already existing with
Right.
your resume and saying, here I am to preach on Sunday. You're having to build. And it seems like a lot of our churches, part of the cultural Christianity is just used to church and service and just show up and I just do my preaching and that's enough. But planters don't get to do that.
Nope.
How did that cross over from being a missionary into being a planters?
Yeah, so I strongly believe the international missions ministry model would never be the missionary as pastor, right? So you're constantly, I never pastored a church overseas. I would speak occasionally, but I did a lot of teaching, a lot of equipping, a lot of training. And so that was for me very natural to come into this role. And that's maybe a little bit of an answer to your previous question too about what we need. And I think that the importance and role of a team and team development and leadership development is really, really critical to successful planting. And so that for me is one of the things that just was natural because I don't have to do it all. A lot of planters are like really type A personalities. Like, let's just pick ourselves up by the bootstraps and go on. And you've got to have a team around you. And if you don't develop a team in a healthy way, you're going to either burn out or your church is going to plateau because you have a limit. Everybody has a limit, and our limit isn't 1,000 people. It isn't 500 people. Usually, a limit, personal limit. If you're highly relational, you have a high relational capacity. You're probably 150, 200 people is your limit.
Yeah.
And if you're not super high on that relational capacity scale, like your limit's probably like 40 or 50 people, 60 people.
Yeah.
And so if you have these aspirations of like
mega
planting and having major church, but your capacity is only 60 people and you don't develop any leaders, you're never going to get there and you're always going to be disappointed. So that for me is what really, I think it was an intangible thing. And I don't think I recognized it at the beginning, but that's one of the really key factors that allowed us to be successful is putting a really good team in place, developing them, leading them to making decisions and empowering them to do those things. There's things that I have to do, like I don't love accounting. I don't love business. I don't love that kind of stuff. I would much rather teach and preach and develop. And, so there's just systems and structures. I'm not a systems and structures guy. I'm a visionary guy, but there's times that you just got to do it because you're the planter. And that's the way it is, right?
Yeah. Sometimes there's nobody to delegate it to. You just have to do it yourself. I think one of the things that a lot of planters struggle with too is just, hoping they wanted to delegate to somebody, but now that person's not necessarily, picking it up and they're not doing it, or they left the church, and then that struggle of like, hey,
That's
I would
hard.
turn it over to somebody, but there's nobody there. But I think also as a missionary, you got used to that a little bit where you were having to cultivate, soil that was never, it wasn't already fruitful. So you get used to I don't want to say rejection a little bit, but there is some of that. How would you speak to that as a planter, missionary, or leader, even because I know you teach a lot of leadership.
Yeah, I think a lot of it in the church world is people coming from other churches, whether it's just transient membership, meaning they're moving literally. For us, we have a ton of military presence, so we have people that come from Jersey or Chicago or wherever, right? And they move here and they're here for however many years they're going to be here. But they have previous church experience. And so they're like, hey, why don't we have a men's breakfast every Saturday morning? I'm like, well, we don't have a kitchen to use or a fellowship hall or whatever. I don't know that I would if I did, but, and I'm not knocking that. That's just not who we are. Right.
Yeah.
Why isn't there Sunday school? So you get some of that kind of stuff. And so that sometimes disappoints people. Mm-hmm. And so you get people sometimes that come in and they're like, hey, we want to lead this and we're going to be great. And we're going to do all the things. And then it's like, oh, this is actually really hard.
Yeah.
And then they just stop. Right. So you swing and miss sometimes. You probably, and I'm sure I've elevated people and said, hey, we're gonna start this and so is going to be in charge, and it just kind of fizzled. Sometimes I fizzle because I get distracted with other things. I'm easily excitable when it comes to opportunities, so sometimes it's my fizzle, other times it's people that you put in place, and so I think you just kind of learn, right? I've learned to lean on my team, especially our leadership team, our elder board. I'll ask them when we're kickstarting a ministry, and we'll get their opinions. It's not necessarily that they want the authority or the control, but I just trust them. Like we have a relationship, and I trust their thoughts, and I trust the Spirit of God working in them to speak into a situation. So I lean on people. I ask other pastors, other church planting pastors, like, hey, what do you, where were the kind of measures, and when did you kind of do this, or when did you do that? When did you hire a staff member? When did you develop this sort of ministry? How did you guys do that? I just try to be a learner, try to be flexible. Church planting, man, it's like, if you go in with your idea, this is how it's going to be, you're going to get wrecked.
that's so good.
It's
man,
constant
so true.
pivot, man. It's constant pivot.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. You are listening to Church of the Week, a program that we're so blessed to have on AM 630 The Word. Also, you can find it on KSLR.com. I am here with Cameron Strange, Dr. Cameron Strange, and we are blessed to be able to have him. And we're talking about Impact Church, and really what you said about being a learner, I think helps a lot, because and you do that. You've been in situations with a bunch of guys, and thank you for being in my life too, where you get blindsided by stuff. But if you're around other people and you find out that they've gone through it, everybody goes through it, then you kind of, even what he was just talking about, the fizzling part, and even the humility to say like, hey, sometimes I fizzle too, right? Then you get used to that might happen. And so you don't get so hurt by it. But if you're thinking that that will never happen and that you've got this down, you're about to find out the hard way.
Yeah.
So I thank you for that, because that's what a lot of churches, I think, they're not learning what is working. And so I thank you for that outreach. What is Impact doing to outreach, to get in the community? Because I know you guys are doing all kinds of things, especially being a missionary minded kind of guy. What are some of those things that you've got?
So we're actually developing a little bit better of a more systematic sort of strategy for missions that is kind of following an Acts 1:8 model with 4 quadrants of Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, into the earth. And so that's something in process, literally in process right now, that we're talking through and working through, and what that looks like for us. But we often, the kind of language I use is a church in the community for the community. That's what we aspire to be. That's what our vision is to be a church that's in the community, and it's for the community. It's known in the community because we serve the community. So I don't feel like I don't carry the burden of trying to do everything. Like we can't be. We're not big enough, but really no single church should ever be the sole solution to any of our major issues. So we participate, which is a national movement of love where you live. That's a thing. We have a work day coming up at the end of October that we're partnering with. A Northeast Bible Church in Garden Ridge is the kind of the main sponsor for our area. So they're the main catalyst of putting all that together. Neat. So Love Where You Live is something. We partner with True Light 127 Ministries, which is a live-in foster care unit out in Marion. They have 40 beds, and man, they're doing hard work. I mean, it's seriously hard work, but great. So we partner with True Light sometimes. Angel Helpers Ministries, they do a Christmas store every year at Crestview with our friend Josh Fuentes. Crestview hosts that, and so they give away Christmas gifts and collect Christmas gifts. So just stuff like that, man. We also have just an income restricted apartment complex that just got built, and it's about 20% open right now. And we go and just help. We just help. Right now. We'll pray with people if they want prayer. We'll help them move in if they need it. So when we know that, hey, there's like 6 units or 8 units that are moving in this weekend, we just show up and we're just there. Maybe it's just a water bottle, maybe it's prayer, maybe we just say hi and that's all that they want, and that's cool. So it's just, again, that's that proximity and presence, right? We're in our community, we're seen, we're visible, we're serving our community.
I love it. And I love what you're talking about with Acts 1:8. And I see that with also teaching, right? So people might say, how do you do all this stuff, right? You're trying to pastor a church plant, you're married, you got kids right now, you're a professor, over here.
It's a lot.
But I mean, you're Judea, Samaria, the ends of the earth. I mean, you're doing it all. Like, what's going on down at BUA with your classes?
Yeah, man, BUA is awesome. Baptist University of the Americas. I was there preaching chapel today. We had a great time, a great body of work. And Dr. Jaquez, the president of BUA, is doing great. And the school is really beginning to grow and flourish. And so I'm teaching a little bit on both undergraduate and graduate classes. That's really just my passion of
you're so good at it, man.
Ultimately why I got, the degrees that I ended up getting was so that I could teach. I have zero desire to be in full-time academia, right? So don't call me. I'm not interested in a full-time faculty position, but I love teaching students.
Yeah.
Specifically at BUA, I love the interaction with international students. So
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing. I love being a part of it. I have a couple church members, 2 guys on my elder board that have credentials and are also teaching in leadership and in the theology school. So it's a fun thing. It's a good partnership for us. We love it.
Yeah, and most pastors, I think, when they get so like stuck in their own building, right, they're missing it. That God is calling them to be in the community, not just in the building, and so to get out there a little bit. And so I love seeing you.
Well, it helps when you don't have a building to get to.
Yeah, and there's nowhere to go to. Yeah,
but I do think it is a posture, right? It's an outward focused posture.
It is.
Of serving others, right? Making that not a come see us, but let's go to you.
Yeah,
that's a mindset, right? A posture.
And I've always felt that you're really healthy, the way you think, the way you take care of yourself. Can you speak to that for any leaders, just in general, not just talking about physical health, but overall health? Because it's not easy, but we got to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, we totally have to take care of ourselves. We do physically, obviously, just in rest and having a Sabbath, right? Taking time and recouping and doing a marriage retreat and spending time with your spouse and having a healthy relationship with your family is super important. But I think having good friendships, that's like Pastor Strong or Pastor's Common on the, so those are just things that are there that foster those communities and those environments. So just, I think it's just something we have to pursue. Right.
Yeah.
And get rid of all the pretentious. That's what I love about those sorts of things. Like I don't hang out with people that are always posturing and they're trying to, look pretty and be real pretentious. I'm just not interested. I'm over it, man.
Yeah,
I'm over it. Right.
Yeah.
If I've got 20 plus years of ministry left in me, like I'm not going to waste it on pretentious people.
Yeah.
We're just going to be who we are, say what's going on and be real with people. And what I've found is when you're real with people, they're real with you back.
Yeah.
Like if I posture, then they're going to posture. If I puff up, they're going to puff up.
Right.
If I want to talk about all the degrees and I can do that and they're going to talk about all their degrees.
Yeah. Ego battle. Yeah.
It doesn't, those are inconsequential, right? Those are not eternal level things. So.
Amen. So unfortunately, man, we're wrapping up and I love this time together. It went by so fast. Where's Impact going in the future? What's the vision like that you can share with us before we
Yeah, man. So we do hope to build. First Baptist Church of Universal City was incredibly generous towards us and purchased a parcel of land, a large parcel of land, and literally just gave it to us, like no strings attached, which is almost unheard of, right?
Yeah.
So we're on FM 1518. We meet currently at Founders Classical Academy at 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings. And our property is just up the road on FM 1518. So hopefully sometime in the next few years, we'll put a building in place and become kind of a permanent structure and presence there on the south side of Schertz and surrounding areas. So yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Well, you guys are already doing it. If you're looking for a church home, this would be a good place to go visit, to check out Pastor Cameron and see what they're doing over there at Impact Church. A lot of different things going on there. And so just excited about that. Anything you want to share before we wrap it up?
Yeah, man. Just thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I love Chad and I love the work that he's doing and connecting with people. And so it's really cool to be up here and to, I just want to encourage you, man, just to keep doing what you're doing, keep connecting with people.
I thank you. It's hard for everybody out there and you might be going through something yourself. It might not be a pastor of a church, but I hope you can hear our hearts when we talk just about kind of like forging ahead in anything, right? Whether it's a new ministry, a new business, whatever it is, a lot of the same skill sets. And really quickly, before we wrap up, you're doing leadership classes, which I thought is so awesome down there at BUA.
Yeah, teaching John Maxwell stuff, man. He's the master at it.
You just dig in. You're a lifelong learner. Can you speak to that real quick before we wrap?
Never give up, man. I didn't even start college till I was 28 years old. So,
man, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
I had zero. I kind of went to college, but I never went to class, and then that makes 4 Ds one semester, and that's over, right? And so just keep learning. Never give up. You always have an opportunity to do it. Make the most of it.
Let's keep on going, guys. God bless you. Thank you guys for listening, for watching. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. This has been Church of the Week from AM 630 The Word.
Thanks for joining us this week for Church of the Week. Please visit us online at am630theword.com for more information or to listen to previous Church of the Week programs. If you would like to recommend your church be featured on a future program, please email us at churchoftheweek@kslr.com.